I had a realization recently, but I need to explain a bit before I get there. You see, I've heard a lot about burnout, how to avoid it, and what signs to watch out for. To me, there was always something I didn't quite understand, a piece missing from all the advice I heard around burnout. I just somehow couldn't wrap my head around it. Looking back, I can see that actually my attitude towards it was quite skeptical. I think there was a part of me that didn't believe that there could be anything that anyone could do to avoid it. I'd always thought that the tiredness I was experiencing was just part of life and that I was doing actually a pretty good job of keeping things under control. But recently my lifestyle changed a lot. I moved out of the ashram and into a home with my husband. My days consist of homemaking, cooking, cleaning, and also balancing my creative projects and volunteer work. After some years in the ashram, which provides both structure and also a kind of happy chaos, it was up to me now to provide structure to my days, but I found myself providing the chaos. I was throwing myself into my creative projects and volunteer work, but I was often late to preparing meals or getting basic chores done. I was for some days glued to my computer and forgetting to do yoga or go for a walk. I could see now that there was some disruption. My husband and I worked together to craft a schedule that was more realistic and helped to bring more structure to my day. We divided my work time into smaller sections and scheduled my other activities in between. We found a routine that really works for me. I also began meal planning. The more that I could map out, the more I could avoid dreaded decision fatigue. You see, I've been hearing about the benefits of routine and not pushing oneself over the edge for a while now, but I think this is the first time I'm really experiencing it. I began this new schedule, and the first day I was working on a creative project and my alarm went off to go cook and my mind rebelled. But I just need 20 more minutes, my mind said. But I pulled myself away and began preparing lunch. Lunch was on time, and later I went back to my project. I spent another allotted 2 hours, and when my timer went off that it was the end of the workday, my mind rebelled again. But I can finish it today if I spend just another hour or two. But then I said to myself that I can continue tomorrow. I've been doing this a little while now, and what I've noticed is that it works. I feel lighter and have felt that the structure has surprisingly made me feel more free. My mind is free from having to make so many decisions. I just follow the plan, and then my mind is able to do other things that are more valuable, like reflect, create, and experience inspiration. I've noticed that I'm able to actually get more done, and also to live more. I could probably continue doing this exact schedule for years on end, and I would for a large part feel sustainably inspired, motivated, and also feel happy and healthy. I realized that every piece of advice I heard in the past about burnout that I didn't fully get now made sense. From a young age, I was a classical musician. I pushed myself beyond my limitations on a daily basis. I remember when I was 15, I went to my first serious summer music institute and came back with one pointed focus and seriousness. That following school year, I had multiple teachers pull me aside and ask if I was okay, because I didn't seem like myself. I was okay, but I was definitely focused on my goal and had a lot of weight on my shoulders. I then ended up in conservatory where the pressure increased and my stage fright increased as well. I became so burnt out that I gave up performing altogether. After that, I went into the corporate world where I commuted almost 3 hours per day and was always working overtime. And even in the ashram, I found ways to be pushing myself beyond my limits. But more recently, I was working as an intern therapist, and I found this the hardest of all. While I care about the well-being of others, I found the work emotionally draining, and it would often obscure my own sense of self. I was balancing this difficult work with living in the city and commuting an hour to campus and also navigating my new marriage. My health became quite bad at points, and as a highly sensitive person, having to work with so many people's emotions and contend with the disruptive environment of the city left me feeling overstimulated a lot of the time. Throughout most of these various phases of burnout, a point came where I had to shut down and could no longer keep going. And now I'll share with you my realization. I realize now that I've actually been living in perpetual burnout. I felt comforted to know that any tiredness I've been feeling the past 10 to 15 years or more actually makes sense. I find that looking at things honestly, even if they're challenging in a way, does bring a sense of comfort and peace. I also began feeling hopeful because I felt that for the first time I could actually believe that I had the ability to craft a daily life that I actually live for many years to come. I am still in the process of crafting that daily life, and of course it will ebb and flow, change and transform over the years, but at least I know it's possible now. So I will continue waking up each morning and prioritizing the important things: my meditation, my creativity, my contribution to my community, but also my health, my introspection, my yoga practice, my relationships, walks in nature, and the magically mundane moments of the day. These simple duties of the day, cooking, cleaning, and laundry, can become magical and meaningful when given the proper time and appreciation. Now that I'm settled into my life more, I have a duty to see it through and create a life that I don't want to run away from. All those years that I was putting myself through burnout, I put myself in a position where I had to run away at some point down the line to rebalance myself. I was confused about who I was and what my contribution was in this world. When you're really young, everything is unconfirmed. But as the years pass and my life has developed, I've now found my people. I've found my person. I've found my practice. I've found, to some extent, my purpose and contribution in this world. A lot of these unanswered questions are now being answered. I'm moving into a new phase of life where, rather than running into new things so fast and then having to run away from them, I can allow myself to invest in my life, spiritual practices, my relationships, my callings, my creations, my hobbies, and my daily duties more and more deeply as the days go by. I hope that this small video was helpful for you if you are someone who is experiencing burnout. And I would be so happy to hear your stories down below and different strategies you've used to avoid burnout in your life. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll be seeing you again next week. Bye!